In this video, we dive into the controversial reign of Queen Ranavalona I of Madagascar, a ruler often called the Mad Queen for her ruthless policies and fierce resistance to foreign influence. We'll explore the events that shaped her reign, including her brutal suppression of dissent, the notorious tangena poison trials, and the attempted coup by her own son, Crown Prince Rakoto. We'll also examine the psychological factors behind her harsh rule and discuss her lasting legacy, whether she was truly a mad tyrant or a defender of Madagascar's sovereignty in a time of colonial threat. Queen Ranavalona was born in 1778 to a commoner family in Madagascar. Her father, a trusted advisor to King Ranavalona, informed the king about a plot to kill him. As a reward, Ranavalona was taken into the royal court and betrothed to the king's son. Ranavalona married Radama I, the son of King Ranavalona, who became king in 1810. Radama I was progressive and welcomed European influence, particularly from missionaries and traders. Upon Radama I's death in 1828, there was a power struggle for succession. Ranavalona, with the backing of influential military leaders, seized power. She eliminated rival claimants, solidifying her position as Ranavalona immediately distanced Madagascar from foreign influence. She halted Radama's reforms, expelling European missionaries, and cut off trade relations with France and Britain. Her desire to maintain absolute control over the kingdom led to the enforcement of strict isolationist policies, contributing to her reputation as a mad and paranoid ruler. Before you forget, subscribe and like to help us grow our channel. Under Ranavalona, the system of forced labor, known as fanampona, expanded. Thousands of Malagasy were conscripted for labor on royal projects or in the military. Failure to comply often resulted in severe punishments or death, fueling her image as a brutal ruler. Ranavalona's policies led to several conflicts with European powers. She successfully repelled French and British attempts to interfere in Madagascar, solidifying her control, but at the cost of widespread violence and casualties. During this period, she earned the title Mad Queen due to her merciless tactics, including the massacre of foreigners and suspected traitors. In 1835, Ranavalona declared the practice of Christianity illegal. Christian converts, both Malagasy and foreign missionaries, faced brutal persecution, torture, and executions. Her ruthlessness toward religious dissenters further cemented her as a mad despot in European eyes. One of the most infamous aspects of Ranavalona's reign was the tangena ordeal, a trial by poison. Accused individuals were forced to ingest poison. Survival meant innocence, but most perished. This practice resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of people, adding to her legacy of terror and earning her the reputation of being a bloody queen. By the 1850s, her son, Rakoto, later King Radama II, disagreed with her isolationist and brutal methods. In 1857, he attempted a coup to overthrow her, aided by Europeans. However, Ranavalona discovered the plot and swiftly crushed it, furthering her image as an unyielding, tyrannical ruler. She died in 1861 after a 33-year reign. Her death was followed by widespread relief, and her son Rakoto ascended the throne as Radama II. He quickly reversed many of his mother's policies, reopening Madagascar to foreign influence. Before you forget, subscribe and like to help us grow our channel. Her psychological state. Mad Queen narrative. European accounts, particularly those from missionaries and foreign diplomats, painted Ranavalona as a paranoid, tyrannical, and mentally unstable ruler, hence the epithet Mad Queen. Her violent purges, isolationist policies, and intense distrust of foreigners led many to conclude that she was unhinged or driven by a deep-seated fear of losing control. However, a more nuanced perspective reveals that Ranavalona's actions were likely driven by political pragmatism, an acute awareness of the colonial threat looming over Madagascar, and her desire to retain absolute sovereignty over her kingdom. During her reign, European imperialism was spreading rapidly across Africa, and Madagascar's strategic position made it a desirable target. Ranavalona's decisions, while extreme, could be seen as calculated moves to preserve the kingdom from being colonized. Her paranoia likely stemmed from witnessing the downfall of her husband's progressive policies. Ranavalona I had embraced modernization and foreign relations, but at the cost of national autonomy. As European missionaries gained increasing influence over Malagasy society, Ranavalona seemed determined to avoid the same fate, adopting isolationism to safeguard her kingdom from what she perceived as encroaching foreign domination. Still, the extraordinary brutality with which she ruled, including mass executions, tortures, and forced labor, raised questions about her psychological state. Many historians speculate that her approach to governance was shaped by her need to constantly reaffirm her authority in a deeply patriarchal society, where her status as a female ruler was seen as inherently weak. Modern perspectives on Ranavalona's legacy. Some modern Malagasy historians view her as a defender of sovereignty and a national heroine, a ruler who defended her country's independence with fierce determination. They argue that while her methods were harsh, they were necessary to counter the external threats of European colonization. In this view, Ranavalona's reign can be seen as an early form of anti-imperialist resistance, and her efforts to protect Malagasy culture and political autonomy were ultimately successful during her lifetime. Symbol of tyranny. On the other side of the spectrum, her reign is often depicted as one of terror and oppression. Critics argue that her authoritarian rule led to the unnecessary suffering of her people and weakened Madagascar economically and socially by cutting off important international relationships. Her treatment of Christian converts, the poor, and political enemies left a scar on the nation's history, contributing to her enduring reputation as the Mad Queen. Gendered judgments. Much of the Mad Queen narrative may also be shaped by the fact that Ranavalona was a powerful woman in a male-dominated society. Her contemporaries, both Malagasy and European, may have exaggerated her cruelty and paranoia because her rule defied gender norms of the time. This perspective suggests that part of her reputation is rooted in gendered biases rather than purely objective assessments of her governance. Queen Ranavalona I remains one of Madagascar's most controversial and complex figures. Her reign was undeniably brutal, with policies that resulted in immense suffering for her people. Yet, her fierce determination to resist foreign domination and maintain her nation's independence left an indelible mark on Malagasy history. Whether seen as a ruthless tyrant or a staunch defender of sovereignty, Ranavalona's life and legacy continue to provoke debate and reflection on the balance between sovereignty and brutality in the face of external pressures. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment to help us with the algorithm. We thank you for watching.